Yes, sir. Let's go, Buffalo. Are you ready? I am so ready. What a big win. Jake, next time I give a conservative prediction on our prior show, just say keep doing it, Mike, because if they keep producing
Yeah,
like this on those type of predictions, we'll take it every day. How you
that's what I'm
doing?
saying.
How you doing, Jake?
No, I'm doing great, Mike. I mean, likewise for me. I said 28-17. I mean, shoot, it was 31-3 at half. So, yeah, let's just keep doing that. Every game we'll go real conservative, and hopefully it's like that reverse psychology, and then the Bills just go off and drop 38. They could have very easily dropped 50 some odd. It was one of those games. So I love to see it. And Antonio, welcome to it, baby. Josh is king. I love it.
We got a
Buffalo fan in
Buffalo,
India. Look at
India.
that.
Yes, Christopher Lynch. Good to see you out there. Antonio, good to
Nice.
see you again. Yes, way to get it done. I mean, everything about this game going into it had the feel of a trap game, for me at least. Like
Yeah.
what happened last year against 14 and a half point favorites against the Jaguars last year. We go in, we lay an egg with a rookie quarterback as well. And it
Yep.
was the same, it was setting up to be the same type of thing, but they did not disappoint. I mean, talk to me talk to me about how deflating it had to be on that first drive. So they kicked to the Bills, right? Bills muffed the kickoff, and we got first down and 98 yards to go. Take us through
Yeah.
that whole series there, Jake. It wasn't long, but tell us how
Yeah.
deflating that had to be.
I mean, extremely deflating. And, of course, you have a guy out there like Gabe Davis, who we've seen over the past few weeks has been hobbling around. And then all of a sudden he breaks free and it's 98 yards. I mean, the longest play since Trent Edwards, or no, Ryan Fitzpatrick to T.O. against the Jags. 98 yards on Derek Cox. I remember he was a rookie corner for the Jags that game. Longest play in 13 years for the Bills. Tied for the longest play in Bills history. 98 yards. I mean, you can't beat it. That's freaking awesome to see. And I was pumped. And of course, I'm an idiot, Mike. Gabe Davis sitting on my bench in fantasy right now.
Oh no, oh no.
Yikes. Yikes. Never will make that mistake again.
Jake,
Ever.
I feel that we've been burned a couple times. Remember when I came to Buffalo last year? I
Yeah.
asked you, I was like, I need to get this win. I actually ended up not picking up Gabe. He goes off and scores a touchdown, and I would have won
Yep.
my game. Here it is here. But I actually made a good choice. I put a DraftKings lineup together. I put Gabe in there. I put Shakir in there. No one else in that lineup did anything, but those two guys brought it home.
What
Fantastic
a
games for
day.
both of them. But Gabe didn't stop just there. I mean, talk to us about that play against Fitzpatrick. I mean, he
Unbelievable.
was a thief. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
I mean, that's a hell of a throw by Josh, too. But the catch was even better. I mean, just for him to. So he one hands it, and then for him to kind of rip it away from Minka Fitzpatrick at the end there. I mean, that's the way you finish right there. I mean, that was just beautiful. It was just everything today offensively. I don't have a whole lot of complaints, to be honest with you. Would
Nah,
have liked to see us run the ball maybe a little bit more, but that's really being nitpicky. And again, Josh Allen is our leading rusher, tied with Devin Singletary at 42 yards. But my gosh, I mean, just a complete offensive domination. I mean, and defense too. I mean, both sides of the ball. I thought Kenny Pickett handled himself really well,
yeah,
but I mean, we still showed up. I mean, we were getting a lot of pressure. Kyrie Elam was tested a little bit. I mean, they got some really talented receivers on that team, and Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, both of those
George
guys
Pickens.
just
Yeah,
making some unbelievable acrobatic catches today. And Deontay almost with two really good catches, but both out of bounds. And man, I mean, that's still, we win 38-3, but that's a pretty good football team still. I think Mike Tomlin today really was the loser. I mean, he struggled today making some really key coaching decisions. I mean, settling for field goals is not going to win you a game, especially when you're down by that much. And then the worst part is he missed both times when he elected to go for field goals. They got the one, but both times where it was like a 4th and long when they maybe should have gone for it, he
yeah,
elects to kick a field goal and he missed both times. And I mean, the win was no joke today either. I mean, you saw that ball; it was moving,
yeah.
And Chris Boswell's a pretty good kicker, so he missed two in a row. I mean, it was two. It wasn't back to back, was it? But nonetheless, I mean, just some very poor coaching decisions by Mike Tomlin today. Something very uncharacteristic by him. The guy does love to punt and kick the football, but at the same time, situationally, just did not handle the game well at all. And I think the Bills took full advantage of that. So, yeah, just an awesome win. Gabe Davis, my gosh, 3 for what? 3 for a buck 70 and a buck
Once,
71
yeah.
and 2 touchdowns. I mean, just insane. And I saw a meme already of him. It was showing Randy Moss's stats as he was a rookie, where he had 3 for 164 or whatever it was, and 3 touchdowns, and they put Gabe Davis's face over it, which was hilarious. So, yeah, you just love to see it, man.
Yeah, you see Slinky giving you that.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
Randy
right.
Moss, 170 yards, 3 catches.
Yep.
Fantastic. And then, so who was it? Oh, Ryan Inge. He did not make the mistake benching Davis.
Smart man. You know who I started over him? Romeo Doubs. Awful.
Oh my goodness.
Just god awful. What a terrible decision. I just based it off the last 2 weeks, and production wise, Romeo was getting more targets. So I'm like, well, Aaron Rodgers is going to go for him. I mean, of course, he does nothing in that game earlier against the Giants, and Gabe Davis explodes and just goes off.
I mean, Davis had 6 targets. He made the most. 3 catches, but you had to think, Jake, you had to feel like I had this feeling when I put that DraftKings lineup that he was due. He was due. And sure enough, he showed up quickly.
It's a great job.
He says, if Allen goes down with injury, Christopher, we keep saying this. It's like we don't want to see Josh being our leading rusher. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what they're going to do. But maybe, they talked about it last week, and we didn't see a lot of it. We didn't see a lot of screenplays today, Jake.
No, we didn't. Not at all. And I mean, you see those slip screens to Stephon Diggs and the quick bubble passes to him too. And we do so good with that. Stephon Diggs, the yards after catch today for him were just unreal. I mean, he just continues to go out there and dominate. And he's so damn good. He wins inside all the time on those slant routes. He's chippy. I mean, the one stiff arm. I mean, he's just a men amongst boys out there. And I mean, just unbelievable receiver. So good.
Yeah. We talked about in the pregame, we were going to get to see Levi Wallace, ex-cornerback from the Bills, and he had that one pick, but otherwise, how'd you think he did?
He kind of got torn apart a little bit. I mean, there were a couple plays where he got absolutely left on whatever island it is, and not for a good reason. I mean, he was just left out there, and it was ugly. It was really ugly for him. So he had the interception. I think, if that's a better thrown ball, he doesn't even come down with a pick. But, it was definitely a tough day for him, for sure.
Was he the one beat on the initial 98-yarder? Was he the corner on that?
I have to go back and look at that. I'm not actually sure about that, but I want to say he was, because he was definitely on Gabe. So, I'm pretty sure it would have been. And I don't know if that was just a lapse of communication. Again, I kind of want to go back and watch the film on that just to see, because I am curious. I want to see what the breakdown was, how he got so open like that.
Yeah, it's just interesting. He's not a burner.
No,
but man,
not at all.
on, when you watch him in that 13-second game last year, and then this game, you're like, man, how does he do it? And even in the first game against the Rams, he got open for 2 deep balls. So sneaky fast, route running, whatever you want to call it. Great. The good hands were back again this week. So good to have Gabe back. And I feel like we came out of that. Other than Phillips coming up with that hamstring again, he was already questionable for this game with the hamstring, and he came up, I think, with the hammy bothering him in that game. But I think otherwise, looks like we got out of here pretty healthy, which is always important, especially when you look forward to next week with who we're going to be playing. And then when the game gets out of hand like this, you hate to see any type of injuries happen late in the game. So I think we got up pretty fair on this one. I don't think there was any additional injuries. So unless you saw something.
No, but there's always those rogue injuries that somehow pop up like midweek, especially this year of all years. That's been like a common theme. So you don't know, but it looked like we got out of there pretty healthy, which was good. So I'll take it.
All right, well, let's go around the horn here. We'll talk about Josh Allen, 424 yards, his best game ever as far as total passing yards go, and it was 20 of 31, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and again that interception was Levi Wallace. His rating was 134.1. Again, just a fantastic game. He ran the ball 5 times for 42 yards. Our leading rusher, best average yards as well per carry, 8.4. He did tie Singletary, but he had the lead over Singletary just because he had the better average yards per carry. So Josh Allen, being Josh Allen, no surprises there, Jake. This is what you expect him to do. I feel like he could have put up easily 2 more touchdowns had that game been closer, and he had to stay in the game.
Well, yeah, and then if Quentin Morris doesn't fumble, he definitely
True.
has at least one, and that's a
Yeah.
passing touchdown. And how about James Cook? First non-Josh Allen accounted for
I know.
touchdown on offense of the entire season, which is insane. And it's my guy James Cook, so he gets a little bit closer, but not really because Devin still had more total yards today. So you're still winning that bet, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up real quick since you brought it up. Let's
Take a look.
Let's get a number here.
Wow.
Oh, I actually put a wrong number in there. I must
26.
It's not 296. It's 126.
126.
So that's the update. Big typo for me on that one. I guess
That's
it's
all
because it's wishful thinking. Jake and I have a bet who has most yards during the year, Singletary or Cook. That was a nice run by James Cook, no doubt. And I knew he was going to get some garbage time yards. But, man, when you get in there, as we said last game, make the most of your opportunities, and he surely did there. I thought they might use him a little more in the passing game. I did see him line up outside, but he didn't throw the ball to him. But good game for him, getting his first touchdown ever. That's fantastic. We had another guy who got his first touchdown ever, Mr. Khalil Shakir, and what a game for him. What'd you think about Khalil?
I mean, right off the bat. Yeah, right off the bat, he has that beautiful catch. And then he did have a drop, but he made up for it right after that. He ends up scoring a touchdown. I mean, 3 for 75 today and a touchdown. Big plays. Every single catch he made today was a big play. And I think that's just, kind of what he's been able to show even in the preseason. I mean, every single time he touches the ball, he seems to make an impact. So it's a beautiful thing. I mean, what a steal in the 5th round. It's just, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I agree. So just going, we've already talked about Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, 8 receptions, 102 yards. He had a touchdown. Khalil Shakir, we just talked about. He had 3 catches for 75 yards. What a nice day. Yeah. He has a touchdown as well. Isaiah Hodgins. Now, I don't know, was this the first time Hodgins has ever caught a pass in an NFL game?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, first time he's ever been on the active roster, first time he catches a pass. And I mean, again, for him, a really nice showing. And actually, I thought that one catch that Case threw to him at the end there, I thought that was pretty close to a first down, but they end up punting the ball. And, man, Saran Neal, I mean, he almost downs it at the 1-yard line, too, after that. That was pretty impressive. But, yeah, I thought Isaiah made the most of his opportunity. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah, fans were a little bummed that we, they don't like to see us punt.
No,
when the punter comes,
you heard the boos come out.
That was pretty funny. Pretty funny. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Hodgins actually had 4 receptions for 41. Quentin Morris had 3 for 39. Of course, he had that one which would have been a touchdown had he held on to it. Just trying to make that extra effort, and sometimes that burns you down near the goal line. But still, I mean, he made a fantastic catch. There was one catch that he made, which was fantastic over the middle. So good. He's got good hands. The whole secondary, the whole receiving core was just fantastic, as well as Josh Allen. Running game, we ran for a total of 120 yards. Josh with 42, Singletary 42, Cook with 31, and Zach Moss only touched it one time for 7 yards. So nothing to complain. How'd you think? So let's talk about, obviously the skilled players did their thing. Let's talk about what you saw from the offensive line.
Yeah, I thought it was a much better performance today, Mike. I mean, we're getting on them a little bit during pregame, but I thought they rose to the occasion. No sacks allowed, first off. Josh had a pretty clean pocket for the most part.
Yeah.
And as far as the running game goes, I mean, we didn't see a whole lot of it, but I thought when we did run the football, it was pretty effective for the most part. There were a couple runs that were stopped at the line, but otherwise, we were gaining positive yardage every single time we ran the football. And that was a beautiful touchdown run by James Cook. I mean, wide open hole. He exploded like he was shooting out of a cannon. It looked like Chris Johnson from back in the day. Freaking love to see it, and we just got to see more of that. And that's a good defensive line and linebacking unit that the Steelers have. So, I mean, that's not an easy task by any means. And I'll tell you what, I thought it was a much better job this week than it was last week. Just a total difference across the board.
Yeah, so Alex Highsmith, who we talked about in the pregame show, 5.5 sacks on the year, non-factor. He had one tackle, man. One tackle. Yeah. He did. It was a tackle for a loss, but Slinky comes in. Let me get your take on this. He says, "What's your thoughts on the fight that happened?" I'm assuming the one that he's talking about is at the end where Shaq Lawson took out Pickett, which I don't think there was any. I don't think
No.
Lawson did anything wrong. I'm sure. I do like the fact that Pickett, being a quarterback, trying to show his toughness there. But what'd you think about that?
Yeah, I think it was just emotions kind of getting the best of him in the situation. And of course, when you see that happen and Kenny Pickett pushes him and then the rest of the team comes to the rescue pretty much, I mean, it's a common thing that happens. Emotions get high, especially if you're a big, you come in, it's a huge loss for you. As a rookie quarterback, you love to see the fire from Kenny Pickett, but also stay in your lane. I mean, that's a 300-pound defensive lineman that you're just trying to take on right there. So big mistake by him, but I do love the chippiness. I think he is definitely, he shows a lot of promise. I thought he played as good of a game as he probably could have, and gave his guys a chance to make some plays. And really, I was very impressed with Kenny Pickett. So I have nothing but good things to say about him. But yeah, that fight at the end of the game, I thought it was just totally unnecessary, but it happens. And that's part of football, man. It is what it is. And then of course, AJ Epinesa gets tossed with a minute left after elbowing the ref. And you could read his lips and he's like, "You're out of here." He looked at him. He said, I think there were a couple choice words in there too, but threw him out of the game. And I think they were laughing about it actually, which was kind of funny, but yeah,
I hope.
very,
I always worry about that when it's something with the ref. I'm hoping there's no
I know.
lingering effects like a suspension or something. I don't
Maybe
know.
a
I didn't.
fine.
I didn't see it. Hopefully it's just a fine. What was scary was Hamlin laying the wood on Pickett on that.
Yeah.
As he was going down a slide. That was scarier in my opinion to me. Those two guys played together. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know. And Tony Romo was saying, he was making jokes about it. It's like the next time they get together, they're not going to be having dinner. You know what I mean? Like, and actually, it was funny on one of the first. It was earlier on in the game when Kenny Pickett almost threw an interception. It tipped off the hands of one of the Steelers receivers, and then I think it was Deontay Johnson, I want to say, and then of course Dane Jackson and Damar Hamlin. They both come in. They sort of collide. Both of them had a shot at getting an interception, and I'm like, well, they're teammates. They probably didn't want to pick off their former quarterback, So a lot of jokes to go around with that. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely scary. I'm surprised we didn't get flagged on it. I guess they said, he was kind of leading with the shoulder. I didn't really see it that way. I thought it was kind of late. Like he sort of gave himself up. And by that point, you can kind of let up. And I was very surprised we didn't get flagged by that. And, I have no issue with the lineman coming over there and pushing him and, obviously taking care of your quarterback, So I have no issue with that. But yeah, that was another chippy play for sure.
Yeah, we'd expect the same if somebody was hitting
of course.
Josh Allen. And honestly, Jake, to me that was close. He was he was in the slide. And I don't know. I mean, weren't you telling me wasn't Pickett you said was
he had the fake slide, the famous
slide,
fake
right?
slide. I'm like, is he going to do this again?
Yeah, right. You can't even. I mean, so to me it was close. It could have been.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with the call either way.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Steeler fans weren't happy, nor were the players. But again, either way on that one. But it is interesting that they played on the same team in college. And again, I don't know what happened. Was you know more about Pickett's career than I do? Not Pickett. Kenny Pickett. What happened that he was he played 5 years for Pitt, right? 5 years, I think he played there. And was he not a starter until that final year where he just
I think it was technically his sophomore year, and then junior year was his first full-on season, I believe, as a full-time starter. But yeah, I mean, the development from him, I mean, it was like, I think like his touchdown to interception ratio, I mean, it was relatively close. It was like 1-to-1. And then his final year, I mean, 42 touchdowns, 7 picks, just went off and really took the nation by storm, was a Heisman candidate. And, yeah, I mean, I really saw a lot of good things from him today. I was super impressed, and I really think they have something with him. They just got to keep developing him, keep getting him more game time, and, I think they'll be just fine. But this year, it's going to be a tough one for the Steelers. I think after seeing today, and obviously the Bills are in a different category of teams, I think they're going to be, the rest of their schedule isn't as tough. But, yeah, I think they'll be in some close games this year. So, Steelers fans have something to hold their head high about.
Yeah, I was very surprised at his play. I mean, he looked like he was calm, collective. He was standing in the pocket, not getting those, a lot of times rookies, they get nervous and they want to run out of the pocket. He was standing in there to the very end, making some nice throws. I mean, he's 34 of 52 for 327. Yeah. I had the one pick. But man, yeah, I thought he played a really, really good game under the circumstances, and he's got skilled players around him. So, It was more to me. It was like their defense couldn't stop our offense, and then of course once you get down to the Bills by
Hmm.
more than 10, 14, oh my God, they're just going to
That's
load up and
tough.
bring the pressure. I
Yeah.
do want to go to a couple of things from Mr. Brian Label. Good to see you
There
out
he
there,
is.
Brian.
Brian,
Nice to
welcome.
see. He's got a nice trivia question, and I thought this would be good for you, Jake, because I don't know it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
What does the Steeler logo mean?
Yeah. So it represents the three components of steel. So you have the three colors. You have the red, blue, and yellow. And I don't know what they actually mean though. But what are the three components of steel, Brian? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it represents the three components of steel. Pretty cool. We'll bring it up as soon as he tells us.
But that's awesome. That's a great trivia question. It is
Yeah,
definitely.
And then Slinky's like, how does he throw for 327 with no touchdowns? Well, a
I
lot of
know.
that was kind of at garbage time near the end, some of that. And yeah, I mean, again,
There was the one
Bills-
catch too. There were a couple of opportunities where they
Yeah.
definitely could have scored. There was the one play too. I'm surprised they didn't challenge it where George Pickens came in. It looked like he was actually inbounds. They never threw a challenge flag, and then they end up, just keep it going from there. But yeah, I think I thought Mike Tomlin was actually more of a liability today than anyone. I just thought coaching wise for him, it was just a bad performance. So totally outcoached. Obviously our offense just totally dominated, and going back to Kenny, I think they definitely have a good one in him.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about that catch that you just talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, it really depends. And I was hoping that they had their expert come on. They usually have a referee who'll come on and explain the call. So he got 1 foot down. He did not get 2 feet down. We got a hand down.
Right.
I don't think a hand counts as being.
Yeah, I don't know.
down.
I don't know what
So
the rule
that-
is there. I thought it did.
Yeah.
I thought it had to be any body part. So the hand or the butt or the leg, whatever it is, if your body falls in bounds too, that's another thing. That would have counted. So yeah, I'm not too sure what the ruling is on that with the hand. I always thought that was good and that would be okay. But yeah, it was. I definitely was hoping they would bring, like you said, Mike. I was hoping they'd bring an expert on and just talk about that a little bit. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Brian says coal, iron, and scrap.
Oh, very nice. Well, that's a good one, man. So I did know that, but I didn't know what the three components actually were. But I've heard that before about what the logo means and all that.
Next, Brian's going to ask us, do we know what the three components of the Bills logo are? I was joking. Good stuff, Brian.
Awesome.
And again, I always forget to say, I see some new folks out there. Some new folks. We got Christopher Lynch from India. If you're new to the channel, please comment, like, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. We greatly appreciate it. Jake, let's move into the obviously glowing reviews for the offense. We had a lot of banged up folks on the defense, although we got some back. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Oliver and Phillips were back. I was actually shocked. I really was. We've been playing pretty well, very well, actually, with Daquan Jones and Tim Settle. I thought they would just roll with that again. It is unfortunate that Phillips does look like he came up again with the hand. He bothered him. So, you know how that is. Those hamstrings can be lingering for, a long time. So, to me, that puts him in jeopardy already for next week's game. But Oliver was back. He played late into the game. And that's a good sign right there. So just having one of those two healthy for the upcoming game. But let's start. Let's start with the defensive line. What we ended up getting 3 sacks. Talk to me about their play. What you saw there.
I mean, again, there was just pressure every single play. I mean, we were forcing Kenny to get outside of the pocket, and I really thought we played extremely well across the board. I mean, Greg Rousseau again, Von Miller. Von gets another sack today. You had a couple other guys getting in there. I thought I feel really strongly about this defense, and it starts up front. I mean, we just so damn good. We're so damn good. And I don't care who you put in there. I mean, they're making an impact. They're getting involved. They're somehow making TFLs. And like I said, I mean, just the depth that we have there is just, it's awesome. And it was good to see Jordan Phillips and Ed Oliver come back. Of course, Jordan goes out of the game, and that hamstring is going to be a problem for the entire season. I just, it's unfortunate. And you think maybe it would have been best if we rested him another game, but also you still want to get him in. And, that was huge to hear that they were back. And yeah, it sucks. But, it is what it is. But yeah, AJ Epinesa also with the sack today.
That was
and
a
of course
gift.
It was.
Did you see
It
that?
was. Oh, it was absolutely a gift for sure. But it was nice to see him get involved. He had a nice pass deflection. I thought he had a couple of nice plays today and stuff that's not going to really show on a stat sheet either. So he's been playing pretty well, very under the radar, low key. But I like what AJ Epinesa has been doing. A guy that we sort of had our doubts about, a guy that we thought could maybe even be some trade bait in the future, So that was definitely good to see. And just trying to go through the list here. Who else? Shaq Lawson. I mean, he had a tackle today. Daquan Jones, another guy too. He does all the dirty work, and he clogs up the middle of that, and he really allows these guys to produce. So what a great addition in him too. I really love what he's done. That's a guy that does not get nearly enough credit.
You don't hear his name, but he's doing the job. He's doing the job because the linebackers are making plays, and he's been healthy through all 5 games. And we gave it up for him last post game. I think we talked about him, and thank you for being healthy. Thank you for doing the job. And yes, I mean in the stat sheet he showed up a little bit. Let's see, what did he show up in the stat sheet?
2 tackles, something like that.
2 tackles. So again, it doesn't look like much, but he's there clogging, taking up multiple offensive linemen so those linebackers can do their job. I did want to, let's go back to Brian here a little bit. He said, let's see, what did he say? The reasons it's only on one side because back in the day, the equipment manager forgot to put it on the other side, and they never changed it. Tradition.
It's awesome. Yeah, it is. It is a really cool trivia thing that you got there, Brian. I love it, man. It's good stuff. Yeah. And it's only like he's saying that the logo is only on one side of the helmet. And that's just because back in the day, that damn equipment manager never, he messed it up, and then they never changed it since. So, and yes, great to be your friend on Facebook. I sent that to Mike, and I'm like, I still think it's the alter ego of Brian Dable, but
I mean, he sent me the invite a little bit after yours, and I was looking like, maybe it's a younger pitcher, much younger.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely look better than Brian Dable. No
Absolutely,
Brian Dable,
absolutely.
But
maybe a relative. I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, all good stuff. Yeah, we love meeting new folks, becoming friends with Bill's Mafia. So Jake and I both are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Reach out to us. We would love to be your friend there. Also on Facebook, we actually do have a Nickel City Mafia Facebook page. So check that out. Obviously, we have the YouTube channel as well. So good stuff there. Let's talk about kind of a little bit of a surprise. Let's talk about these linebackers. So in our pregame show, we knew Edmonds was probably going to be out. By the way, everyone on the pregame show that we thought would be out were out. We thought McKenzie would be out. He was. We thought Edmonds was trending to be out. He was. But we thought that, I thought there'd be Joe Giles Harris or maybe someone bigger in the middle. I forgot to mention the one guy that we're going to talk about here. You thought it would be Terrell Bernard.
Yeah.
It turned out to be Tyrell Dotson, and he had a fantastic day. So a little bit of surprise there. Why do you think Dotson got the start over Terrell Bernard?
I think it's experience. I think he does. I mean, from a size perspective too, he's a little bit bigger. He's not huge either. He's like 6 foot, 237 around there. So obviously not Tremaine Edmonds size at all, but bigger than Terrell Bernard. So maybe they wanted to opt with that. The Steelers are the Steelers, right? They're a tough physical team. So maybe they wanted a guy that was more physical, a guy that, obviously knows the system. He's been around for a few years. So they felt that they could probably trust him a little bit more. And it definitely paid off. He had 11 tackles today. So monster day for him.
1 sack, tackle for loss, one quarterback hit. He was all over the field.
Yep.
So that's a good sign to have that depth piece when Edmonds is out. I mean, he stepped right in. These are numbers that I expect to see from Edmonds, right? So
right.
Didn't miss a beat there. So fantastic. Otherwise, Milano. I thought Milano played really well. Of course, the stats don't show much, but he did have 2 pass deflections. He had a total of 2 tackles. But he's always around the ball. And they mentioned that, right? Yeah. He's always around the ball. I think there was another tip pass where he got involved, or he might have been able to get there. He's kind of like Poyer this year. He's just seems to be around whenever there's an opportunity for a turnover. He's in the mix.
And speaking of, how about the safety play from DeMar Hamlin? I mean, he's
we
special.
Haven't gotten there. We haven't gotten there. We're going through the whole thing. We'll get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that. But
we'll get to it.
we'll get
That's
to
right.
that. I totally agree. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Brian, gotta go. Gotta go feed the 4 kids. Have a good night. Go Bills. Brian's always in a rush. Great to stop out here. Glad to see you, Brian.
Appreciate you, man.
We got to talk about getting you on one of our shows. We love to bring some Nickel City Mafia members on the show, and you seem like, with all your knowledge, it'd be fun to have on the show. So let's talk about that. But go have fun with the kids and celebrate.
That's right.
All right, so let's get into the linebackers. Good game, obviously good game. Only a little bit of surprise not seeing Bernard, but I think we understand why that was. Dotson filled in great, but let's talk about the corner play now. So I thought the corners did a fair job. Kaiir Elam was getting picked on early and often with George Pickens. And funny, I want to say they had to have played each other, right?
Oh,
At
yeah.
some point in time. They had to play each other in college.
Yes. And actually, I'm curious to see who won those matchups. I actually don't know off the top of my head, to be honest with you. And I know George Pickens was a little bit banged up, too, at Georgia. So maybe they didn't play each other as much as we think that they did. But, yeah, I thought it was a battle. I mean, they were going back and forth a little bit. Kaiir finished with 10 tackles today, got his first interception, which was awesome to see. And that was a thing I think, people get a little concerned with him, when he gets a little too aggressive playing and man, then he can get beat. But the good thing is he's able to kind of get back to where he needed to be. He's so fast, he can get back. Like if he gets beat, he can run back and I mean, he can run with the best of them, honestly.
Yeah.
So what's good is, at least when he does overcommit or when he's too aggressive, he can run back and potentially make a play on the ball, which honestly, that could bait a quarterback to throw the football at a receiver. Maybe he does that on purpose sometimes. You don't know. But, nonetheless, I thought for the most part, he played a really nice game today.
Yeah, I think the 10 tackles are a little deceiving because most of those, if you're a corner and you have that many tackles, you're either getting picked on with a lot of throws, which I think was what happened today, or you're making a lot of plays at the line of scrimmage and the run defense. Today was the first thing I said. I mean, they were throwing his way. And he's really, surprisingly, it's the first team I can think of that really focused on him, targeted him. You would think that would be more often. Again, so there were some plays. He's super fast. There was never a play I felt like he was completely out of position. Like he wasn't that far off the receiver. I feel like the ticky-tack, the call that they made on him, I don't know. That was pretty
ticky-tack call. I agree.
In my opinion there. And, of course, he gets his first interception. So that's only going to help his confidence. So, yeah, I don't know. If you were going to grade him today, A, B, or C, what are you giving him?
I'd give him like a B-. I thought it was a decent day. Not over the top great, but not bad either. I really didn't think he played a bad game by any means. And he was tested. And those guys, too, I mean, they have a really talented receiving core. So it's not like he's going up against a scrub. I mean, George Pickens is a really good receiver. And that's a guy that's going to be a tremendous – he's going to be one of the top receivers in this league eventually. I think he's trending upwards for sure. And especially with Kenny Pickett, he's going to give him a chance to make a play every single week. So, yeah, I mean, I thought for the most part he played pretty good. I will say now on the other side, Dane Jackson, he was pretty shut down for the most part today. I thought he played a really, really nice game today.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. It's still amazing to me that we have Dane Jackson back after what happened a few weeks ago, but fantastic. And Kaiir, again, I love that he's getting tested. And again, you're right. We said this in the pregame. They have a lot of talent in those skill positions, a lot of talent. So no easy task. All of the receivers are they're big, they're fast, they're strong. So yeah, it's a real challenge. And I thought, sure, he got a few thrown against him, but he made the one pick, and I'm so happy for that young man. So good stuff there. I do want to go back before we move to the safeties. I want to talk about one thing, and I know my dad's going to listen to this, and he's going to say, did you see the game that Breece Hall had today?
Yeah.
And Breece Hall almost ran for 100 yards. I don't know if he got there. Last I looked, he had 97 yards rushing. He had 100 yards receiving. Breece Hall's looking like, so here's the thing, right? We knew Breece Hall was there. He was one of our targets as well, Jake, when we were doing our early pre-draft videos. And it came down to, did we want a corner first or did we want a running back first? And we took a corner. We decided to go to corner. And still not, all that Breece is doing, I still think we made the right decision. I don't know what your thoughts are there. I'd love 100%. To hear in the channel what folks thought about that. So if you had to go back again and you see what Breece is doing and you see what Kaiir is doing, would you still have drafted Kaiir over Breece Hall?
And I think you look at where we're at right now too, and you can't predict injuries and stuff like that. But I think in terms of the need at the time, even going into the draft, I think the glaring need was definitely another corner, like a number one corner, especially with the, questions surrounding Trey White when he comes back. I mean, he's still not back. So you imagine right now not having Kaiir Elam, like where we'd be. And I know we do a really good job of developing corners, but that's a huge, if we don't have Kaiir Elam right now, I mean, he's played really good football up to this point. Like that's a guy I feel like right now that you can't really replace. I mean, hypothetically you can, but for him, like the skill set that he offers is huge. I mean, he could play man coverage. He can jam you at the line. He's tough. He's physical. He could play in the run game, which I think a lot of people doubted. That was one of the big knocks on him, was that he wasn't a great tackler, but I think he's getting better and he's showing that he can be aggressive. He can play in the run game. And on top of that, I mean, he can make up for a play where he gets picked on and, maybe the receiver goes for 6 catches for 83 yards. He'll go out there and he'll make a play that changes the game. And I mean, it didn't really change the game by any means, but he got an interception today. So I think that's a guy, he's only going to get better from here. So I just love what I see from him.
I like what Z-Bell says here. And absolutely, a lot of Breece's production is out of necessity. Yeah. Just don't have enough weapons, so they're using him as a workhorse. Absolutely. And then plus an unproven quarterback is going to check down a lot, so Breece getting more touches. That 79-yarder was a nice thing of beauty today. That I think it was 79-yarder. They got
and that was all Breece. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
that was all Breece.
Tackled at the 1-yard line. What a bummer for him. He's like, damn it. I do want to talk while we're on corners. So again, the corners I thought did another great job. And again, we're way past the worry about our corners. Now they are going to have their biggest test to date next week, for sure. Biggest test all year that they'll have is next week against Mahomes. But I want to ask you, when do we see a Trey White sighting? I mean, he's obviously was eligible to come off IR after week 4. I think in one of our shows, you and Sean thought he might see him in the KC game, but I think we're not going to see him. To me, I think we're not going to see him now till after the bye week. But what are you thinking?
I'm kind of leaning more and more towards that way, Mike. I would love to have him for that Kansas City game, but just to throw him back into the mix, I mean, against the Chiefs. Now they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. Don't get me wrong. They still have, they're not as good as they were at the receiver position, but they still have some speedsters, some guys that can cut on a dime. And if there's, based on the injury that Trey had, it's going to take a little bit. Even so, I think as a corner, to recover from a torn ACL and PCL and LCL and MCL, I think it was all the ligaments that he tore in that knee. Jeez. To come back from that's extremely difficult. And I mean, it's different. If you're you're a quarterback or, receiver, I think it's a little bit different than corner. I mean, as a corner, it's a lot more physical, first off. Second off, I mean, the way you got to play these receivers in the league now, it's extremely difficult. So if we can go another week without him, I guess 2 weeks without him, because then it would be after the bye week, I would say more power to us and go for it. I think the corners that we have right now have, really played and exceeded expectations for the most part. So I'd be okay with him missing it. Obviously, I'd love to have him back. But, if he's not ready, he's not ready. So give it another 2 weeks.
Yeah, Jake, now that I think about it, honestly, let's think about this. So if he's not there next week, which odds of him coming off of IR and being ready to go next Sunday, highly unlikely.
Yeah.
And then they would put him in the bye. And then honestly, the way that Green Bay's been playing and the way our corners are currently playing, give him another week of rest. I seriously would give him as much as we could. Obviously, we want him there if we can, but we're definitely going to need him towards the latter part of the year. Now, If we lose next week, and we're 4-2. By the way, I want to say congratulations. The Bills are number one by themselves in the AFC East, thanks to the New York Jets today, who took down the Dolphins. Dolphins lost another quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater went out with a concussion, and then it was all Jets from that point on. So the Jets now getting some confidence. We'll talk about them later, but my goodness, we said the Bills, we said the Dolphins would be our second place team, we said the Jets would be the third place team, and we said New England. I know New England had a big win, but watch out for those Jets. They're getting confidence every week.
I know.
Getting confidence. Good coaching, good coach team, well-coached team. Watch out. They had a great draft. We all know that. So anyhow, let's see here. Let's see what Mr. Z-Bell comes in. The biggest test is going to be our safeties and Matt Milano. Now with Travis Kelce being the main threat, can we shut him down? So, I heard somebody put it well on another show that I watched. You have Mahomes has Kelce. We know the damage they can do. And then he said they put a track team around Kelce.
Pretty much.
They put a track team. Those guys, maybe not quite as fast as Tyreek Hill, but damn near close.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So anyhow, why don't you respond here to Z-Bell?
Yeah, Ian, thanks again for joining the show. I think you make amazing points here. I definitely agree. I think next week, the more important thing is to get Jordan Poyer back. So I think if there's anyone we really need back for the Chiefs, it's Jordan Poyer. Obviously, we'd love to have Trey again, but if there's anyone we need, I think if we can get help in the back like that with Jordan Poyer, it makes such a difference. And we saw it in the Ravens game. I mean, he's so damn important to this defense. Today, luckily, we didn't really need him much, but against the Chiefs, it's a different animal for sure. So we need to get him back somehow.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's move on to these safeties. You kind of brought it up earlier. They did a fantastic job. Mr. Damar Hamlin, to me, he's just so impressive. He's physical, to the point where he was maybe a little too physical with Pickett, but I want that, right? And he's making plays. He had 8 tackles today, tackle for a loss as well. He's around the line of scrimmage, helping in the run game. Talk to me about Damar Hamlin. I mean, I know you've been impressed, and of course, Jaquan Johnson got the start as well today. So talk to me about Hamlin.
Yeah, I think Damar Hamlin has just been stealing the show. And honestly, going into the season, I was big on Jaquan Johnson, which, and I'm not saying he's played bad or anything like that, but out of the two, Damar Hamlin has really shown up. I mean, he looks really, really good. He looks like a legitimate number one safety in this league, and the fact that he can play in the run game like that. I mean, he's making plays at the line of scrimmage as a safety. That's really, really impressive. And that's something you love to see. So yeah, I mean, I can't stress enough of how impressed I've been with him. It's, what a gem. Again, somehow we managed to find these corners and secondary players in the late rounds, and we take them and just plug and play pretty much. It's really amazing. And obviously he's probably absorbed quite a bit from, just learning behind Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. I mean, those guys have probably coached them both up quite a bit. But I think, out of the two, Damar Hamlin has just been so damn impressive. And I just love seeing what he does each week. I mean, today, again, just tough physical football. And gosh, I mean, he's out there looking like freaking, and I'm not going to compare him to Ronnie Lott, but he was looking a little bit like Ronnie Lott out there. I mean, he was laying the lumber today. It was great.
Yeah, he's certainly doesn't shy away from contact. That's for sure. Yeah. So loving what I see there. And then let's see here. So talk to me about. So we got Poyer, we got Hamlin, we got Johnson. Who's on the depth chart after that? Is that Ingram?
Yeah, it's interesting because Christian Benford also was drafted as like that hybrid corner safety guy. But now when he comes back, you imagine he's probably going to continue playing corner. So, that's a great question. Like, then you also have Xavier Rhodes out there too. So who technically is that guy? Is it Jamarcus Ingram? I think for the time being, maybe it is because he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'1", 6'2", $190. So maybe he is that guy as our emergency safety. Right. Saran Neal is another guy that comes to mind. I would imagine is probably that safety type player, even though he's technically a corner. Anyone that's a little bit bigger, I feel like could probably contribute at that position. I know Saran Neal has played a little bit of safety too. So I would say probably him or Jamarcus Ingram between the two. But when we do get some guys back and healthy, obviously you have a couple guys that you could maybe plug and play there as well. And I am really curious, actually, just mentioning that. I mean, I know it's not even something we probably have thought about too much, but Xavier Rhodes, I mean, what do we do with him when he comes back? Do we activate him? Does he play? Where does he play? Does he play safety? I mean, usually guys that are in their 30s that are bigger body like that, they usually switch over and make that transition from corner to safety. So I'm curious to see how we play that as well.
Man, it's crazy to think of this. These are good things to have, right?
Oh, amazing.
Good
Amazing.
Good problems to have.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I saw somebody in a show throwing out the idea of maybe Trey White plays safety for us until he gets back to 100%. It's a little easier on you than a corner, but I don't think you can just, flip the switch and go play safety.
Yeah. But, I would keep him at corner.
Yeah. These are good things to have. And you're right. The Rhodes thing's interesting because Xavier's he's a good quarter. He's a good cornerback. He's got some mileage left on those treads. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure.
It definitely is. Yeah. And the good thing with him too is that he thrived in Leslie Frazier's system when he was with Minnesota. So I feel like this is a perfect fit for him, even as a corner. I mean, he does very well in the zone scheme. So yeah. I am curious if he just stays at corner or if we do make the switch for, him converting to safety or even playing a little bit of both.
Yeah. All right. Well, I see a lot of folks out there in the channel today and they're being a little quiet. So let us know who you are. Let us know where you're from. And like I said, comment, like, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. But let us know who you are. Also want to let you know that we have a Discord channel. If you want to talk to us during the week or you want to talk to us during the show, during the games, we are on our Discord channel. So the link is in the description of this show. It's on all our shows. Join us. We'd love to have you. Love to meet you. We've met some great people so far, especially this year, Jake. We've really, after getting to that 1,000 subscriber mark, I mean, we were just meeting all kinds of new people, some folks out here in San Diego. Learned that we have a fan from India today. How fantastic is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
Brian Label. We had James Barrick on our show a couple times. So meeting all kinds of Bills Mafia. And that was a big reason why I started the channel, just to meet new people, especially Bills Mafia. So let's go. Love to interact with you. And thank you all for who come and watch our shows every week and join us in the live chat.
Absolutely. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. I mean, it really does make the show, and it's nice when you get to answer questions. You get other people's opinions. I mean, it's awesome. So, anyways, Mike, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I was going to go to one of your favorite positions. To talk about your favorite things to talk about, and that's special teams. I got to ask you, what the hell are we thinking? Was it Taiwan Jones returning the kick? The kickoff to start the game. What the heck are we doing, Jake?
It's not a bad thought. The guy is fast as hell. He's still fast, even though he's in his low 30s right now. But handle it first off. Get a hold of the ball. And then for him to, he picks it up at the 1 yard line. Doesn't even he gets to the 2 yard line. I mean, that's a tough start. Luckily, we got Josh Allen and Gabe Davis who go 98 yards for the score after that. But I mean, talk about putting yourself in a real tough position to start the game. I mean, that's brutal. And I think that goes to show, you got to have a guy back there that's able to handle the football, can field it, and, can do it cleanly. Now, I'll give Taiwan a pass because he's a really good special teams guy. He has returned kicks in his career, but he's not the normal return man back there. Typically, we have either Isaiah McKenzie or Khalil Shakir back there. So, it'll be interesting to see how we move, moving forward, what's going to happen at that position.
Wow, look at this. I love it.
Wow.
Ralph. Are you kidding me? We had someone from India, now someone from the Netherlands. I love it.
We're going international.
Ralph. I love it. Good to see
you out awesome.
There, Ralph. Greatly appreciate you joining us today. That is incredible.
Welcome. That's great, man. I love it. Yeah, the Netherlands. We do have a family friend that I know he lived in the Netherlands for a hot second. He came over here. So have a couple ties, not many. But I do know someone who is from there, and now I know two people, which is awesome. So, Ralph, thank you so much.
What time is it in the Netherlands right now? Someone has let us know, Ralph. What time is it where you are?
Yeah, 5 hour difference, maybe 6 hour difference.
That is so awesome. Love it. This is what we're asking for. Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, and we'd love to talk with fans of the Bills, no matter where you are around the world. So special teams. So I thought Taiwan got a little excited. He's like, really? You're putting me back there on a kickoff? Now, he could have just let that thing go through the end zone. It was in the end zone. It made it there. But you could see he's excited. He's like, oh, hell yeah. I'm getting my first opportunity to return a kick.
Right.
I'm going to take it. But, the wind was a little bit, the wind was playing with the ball a little bit. That could have, I'll give him that a little bit, but still, man, you cannot have that happen. You cannot have that happen. Thankfully, like you said, Josh and Gabe made up for it with a 98-yarder. But man, I was like, and he didn't see, he wasn't returning any kicks later on. Of course, we didn't have any kickoffs to us afterwards. We had punt returns, which I think was all Khalil Shakir, right?
Right. Yep, that's right. Actually, Khalil Shakir did have, I think he had one for 34 yards. He had the one kick return. That was after the field goal, I want to say. But that was it. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so Ralph's saying it is 11:30 out there.
Wow.
Nice. Late game. I hope you have the day off tomorrow, Ralph. So you can celebrate late tonight, and hopefully you don't have to get up early in the morning.
That's right.
That almost feels like that's like Monday night times, right? Monday night games for you guys on the East Coast. Sunday night guys, you guys are staying up till almost midnight. Here on the West Coast, it is nicer. That's the one benefit. I miss the East Coast, but I do love being able to watch the games nice and early. Like, it's only 2:30 right now. I have still a good part of my afternoon left to maybe watch some other games, but who cares? The Bills won. I don't need to watch anything else. I'll probably watch the Sunday night game. That should be a good one. But back to special teams. So I felt like the punter did well. We saw him again. I always forget his name because I don't see him much, but I'm just kidding.
Slippery Sam Martin.
Sam Martin. Yeah, I know. I'm going to keep that joke going as long as I can where I don't know his name. But he had a couple punts that should have been downed inside the 10 easily. I thought, he just missed it. As a punter, when you get those opportunities to pin it inside the 5 or the 10 and your guys just don't cover it, it's got to bug you a little bit.
Saran Neal is this close. I mean, we're getting them down at the 1 yard line instead it comes out to the 25. I mean, that's a really bad break. And then again, there was another chance. I mean, he averaged 55 yards a punt, which is awesome. It helps the average, but it doesn't look good because you didn't pin him inside the 20, so it's just, that definitely hurts.
I think both times he had the wind to his back, so it always helps. But then let's talk about, one of your favorites, Mr. Tyler Bass. Now, that play, I didn't have high hopes for it. It was like a good, 47-yarder. The wind was playing havoc with the ball. I didn't have a real good feeling, but it was just kicked low. I mean, it was obviously a low kick. I don't even think they had to jump much to block it.
Yeah, and at that point, I was starting to get a little nervous because that's the second field goal now in the last 2 weeks that has been blocked and kicked low, and that's not like him. Tyler Bass is and I think the point of it was he wanted to drive it through the wind, so he probably kept it a little bit lower, which I understand. You don't want it hanging up there too long because the wind is just going to take that, as we saw with Chris Boswell. I mean, two times today it happened with him. So I understand where he was coming from, but at the end of the day, just kick the football. Just don't mess with it and just put it through. And he did on the second attempt, which was great to see.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into now. I think we kind of wrapped up this week. We are in first place, AFC East. That is fantastic. Let me ask you, Jake, we knew the first 7 games of the season were going to be tough. And here we are now through week 5. We're 4-1. I mean, I think all of us, when we did our schedule predictions,
we were all about there.
Were we about
minus your dad?
Minus my dad, 4-1. And so this upcoming week is huge. I think it is absolutely huge. They said it on the broadcast. And Nance said it. And he said, I'm going to get some heat. This could be early, but this could be for home field advantage going against the Chiefs. And Ralph's out there saying next week will be a problem. It will most certainly be the biggest challenge to date. This is the team that's had our number for whatever reason. Yes, we beat them in regular season last year, but they look good. And I mean, we're going to have a whole pregame about this game. But as what I've seen, they have a much better running game. They actually have a decent running game, which now, I mean, if you have to focus on a running game and stop Mahomes, oh my goodness. Now you can. I don't know how the Colts did it a few weeks ago. I don't know how they won that game. It was the Colts. I don't know how
it was.
Although
Yeah,
the
and they
Colts,
only limited them to 13 points, which is crazy. I
yeah.
mean, that offense, wow, amazing.
But I mean, they just pretty much put the beat down on Tampa Bay last week, and Tampa Bay has what everyone thinks is a good defense. Maybe that's not the case, but they laid the smackdown on them and against Mister Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fantastic game. Why don't I throw it to you? Talk about that a little bit. Give us a precursor to what we're going to see in that game.
Yeah, I would say, again, as you mentioned, Mike, now they have a running game. They have two backs in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then you got this kid, Isaiah Pacheco, a rookie out of Rutgers, who somehow slipped to the 7th round. What a steal for them. He was almost Mr. Irrelevant, which is insane. And he's making such an impact. He is now wearing Tyreek Hill's old number, wearing number
Wow.
10, and he's fast as hell, too. I mean, he is a dynamic player. He can get it done, and that's a guy to key on for sure. And then you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as I mentioned. He's actually the starter, and he's a really good pass catching back too. So yeah, that definitely, that offense is rolling a little bit now, and they have a lot of different weapons with Sky Moore, and they have Justin Watson, another young receiver. They have Juju Smith-Schuster. They have Travis Kelce. They have Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, just a lot of weapons to go around, and boy, that's going to be a tough offense to stop. But if there's any time where we need a pass rush, it's going to be that game.
Yeah, and I think what we saw today. If they're going to target one of these if there's a team that's going to target one of our young corners, it's going to be Andy Reid.
Oh yeah,
he is going to target one of these folks. So there's going to be a big task for Elam, whoever's out there. Again, I think you're right. I think it always feels good when you see players that are out. Like, we're always bummed at first, like, damn, he's not in the game, but we got past this game, looks pretty healthy, and it'd be nice to see. And the fact that we got Oliver back will help against that run game.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
Substantially. Having him settle, as long as none of these guys came out with injuries, having him settled, and of course Daquan Jones, fantastic to help stop that run. I'm not too worried about the run game. I'm always worried about Patrick Mahomes. He, like Josh Allen, is next level. These are the two, in my opinion, the two best quarterbacks, and then there's a big drop off after these.
Absolutely. I would agree.
So it's going to be amazing. Both their defense has improved. They're not the same defense we saw in that 13-second game.
Yeah.
Right? They drafted what is his name? Hutchinson?
George Karlaftis, and he has
confused. Yeah.
They got him. They got Frank Clark. They got Chris Jones. So our O-line is going to have a big test in front of them too. And then they got a kid, Justin Reed, the safety. What a great signing for them. He has been, and he has always been an underrated safety, but I think people are finally starting to take notice. And if you need a backup kicker, this guy can go and kick field goals too. I mean, it's amazing what he does. And just very impressed with him. And they replaced Charvarius Ward. I think they'll have Trent McDuffie for this game too. So they'll have that young corner, a guy that, the Bills were potentially in the running for, a guy that I thought would have been a good fit for us. But of course, we got our guy in Kyer Elam. So I'm all right with that. But yeah, it's going to be a test. No doubt about it.
Yeah, they got some nice draft choices by trading away Tyreek Hill. And I was going to mention McDuffie. So you got help on the defensive line, help in the secondary, and they're showing it. They're a much better defense. So we got two good defenses, two good offenses. Oh my goodness, this should be a primetime game.
Oh yeah,
should be a primetime.
And it's a 4:25 game, but we get Nance and Romo again, which I'll take. It's the game of the week special for CBS. So whatever, it's fine. I'm good with it.
Yeah, Puka says good to see Gabe Davis back healthy.
Great.
Man, what a difference. And I'm glad. I hope that ankle stays strong. We're going to need him to put on another show like he did in that 13-second game.
You ain't kidding. Yeah, and I don't even know if he's fully healthy either, Mike. He just looked better and definitely looked at least a little bit more healthy. I mean, that ankle, it held up, so that's good. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, and so, hopefully we'll have McKenzie back. And, of course, I'm not worried. Shakir showed up. I expected Shakir to show up. I really didn't have any questions too much about him other than maybe blocking assignments. But, he's been known. So coming into the draft, he was known for circus catches. The guy catches everything. And he made that one catch. There was 3 people around him on that one catch, and he brought it in. The knock on him was sometimes he loses concentration and he'll drop an easy one, which we
saw. Yeah,
we saw that. But hey, man, I'll tell you what: if that's far and few between, and you're making these amazing catches, I'll give you the pass for that one. Get it cleaned up eventually, but I'll give you the pass on that one.
Couldn't agree
Hamlin
more.
3 is fire, says Puka.
Hell
I don't
yeah.
see MH23 coming back. Man.
Yeah, now that's a good conversation because,
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to lose a guy like Micah Hyde, but if it does come down to it, do I feel comfortable with Damar Hamlin with what I've seen to replace him? I do. I mean, there's still a lot of season left to play. From what I've seen, though, he's really, I mean, he looks like the real deal. So that's awesome to hear and awesome to see. And Jaquan Johnson, again, that's a guy that I was pretty high on too. I think he can also do the job. But I have been more on the Damar Hamlin train lately.
Yeah, I agree. And to have that mentorship with Poyer and Micah Hyde, and again, gosh, I hope they can get something done with Poyer. Need to extend this guy.
Yeah.
Need to extend them just to have him there for that mentorship along with Micah Hyde. I know we have Micah Hyde signed through next year as well, but yeah, that's the question mark. Prayers are out. Will this guy even play again? Neck injuries are no joke at all. And he's had a couple of them, right? He's had a couple of neck injuries in his career. So,
it's been crazy, just the number of head and neck injuries as of the last few weeks. It's like when that our initial one happened in Miami with Tua. It's like ever since then, there's just been, and even before that with Dane Jackson,
yeah.
I mean, where he's almost decapitated by Tremaine Edmonds. It's like, it's just crazy. I've never seen so many head and neck issues. And I mean, maybe they're just honing in a little bit more on it just because of everything that's sort of gone down over the last few weeks. But I mean, it's really scary. It's something you never want to see. I mean, even today we had Pat Freiermuth leave the game. We had a couple other guys. There was Teddy Bridgewater left the game, in the Miami game. And it's just so many of those. And you hate to see it. But I just hope that everyone's back and healthy. And that goes for everyone, not just Micah Hyde.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the play. I got a little worried here when Josh Allen was tackled. He was
his head
pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
And those are the ones that you see a lot of concussions. And I was like, I was watching. I'm like, okay, he's good, but my goodness, these defensive linemen, man, somehow are getting good leverage on these quarterbacks and just throwing them down, like just
right.
You got perfect leverage, and they come down hard on their heads. But thank goodness Josh was okay. But so we got. Puka says, I don't see Poyer need with Johnson for.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
Jordan, he's different, man.
I guess all I'm saying is, if not only for his play, we've seen what he's done. I don't think one of the rookies, or one of the youngsters, I don't say rookies, but youngsters, make that play in the end zone last week that he did on that fourth down play. And I just think that his mentorship is another thing as well. So we can't lose these guys. So
let's put it this way: if it comes down to Micah Hyde or Jordan Poyer on who we have to let walk, we got to keep Jordan Poyer. And unfortunately, as much as I love Micah Hyde, he's my favorite player on this team, probably.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd hate to lose him, I mean, between the two, you got to take Jordan Poyer, right? I mean, you have to.
Yeah. I see Brandon out there, my son. Good to see you, buddy. Josh almost got his head slammed. Yeah, I was just talking about that. Every hit is scary now. And then Puka says, I like Dodson 53. Yeah, we talked about him early on. Fantastic game. It's nice to have that depth because literally I didn't miss Edmonds today. I'm glad Edmonds was able to rest, but I didn't miss him. I saw Dotson all over the place. And then he says Poyer is a beast as well. Good stuff.
And here we were thinking maybe Pat Freiermuth or now Zach Gentry. He had a couple nice catches over the middle, but here we were getting a little nervous almost. Maybe the middle of the field opens up. A guy like Tremaine Edmonds not being in there, that's sort of where he thrives. He's been really good in covering the middle of the field. And with him out, I thought Tyrell Dotson did a tremendous job.
Puka, where are you from? Where are you from, Puka? Let us know where you're from. Is that a Alec? What does that look like to you, Josh? What's that little
it's the meme emoji with the frog. I forget what it is. I've seen it before. Yeah.
Where you from, Puka? Want to know. Brandon, obviously, he's in Buffalo, right there with you. You know what I miss is, like, after a game like this, This is another reason I miss being in Buffalo. Going out for some beautiful, wonderful chicken wings or beef on weck. Man, I could, if we had that around here, that's where I'd be going right now, Jake. I'd be going to get me some beef on weck. He's from Utica. He says he lives in Orlando. Unbelievable. Fantastic.
Nice.
Were you able to make the game out there? No, Orlando's a little far from Miami, but I don't know. Did you travel to the game against Miami a few weeks ago, Puka? But yeah, good stuff. And yeah, I mean, Jake, what's your dinner plans? What do you do for dinner around your house after a victory like this? You've got so many options in Buffalo.
I mean, now you got me thinking wings, Mike, but shoot, I don't know. I was just talking to Timmy, who's downstairs. So Timmy, if you guys don't know the backstory, Timmy sort of put me in touch with Mike, Timmy Corcoran. Shout out to him. He's a longtime viewer, big supporter of Nickel City Mafia channel. But anyways, he sort of put me and Mike in touch. He showed me the post that Mike put out on Reddit, reached out to him. But anyways, that's long story short. Timmy is big. He's big into his food. He knows his stuff. He's kind of a foodie, a self-proclaimed foodie, if you will. He just told us about this place. It's out in Kenmore. And I guess this pizzeria, I forget what it's called, but I guess it's one of the top 100 pizzerias in the United States, which I've never even heard of it. Yeah, I mean, we have Imperial Pizza here. I have to ask him what it is again, but he said next game maybe we're gonna do it. We're gonna do our food from there. But that sounds really good right now too. Honestly, now you got me thinking wings, pizza, maybe some beef on weck. You can't go wrong with any of them. Yeah,
my options are just so terrible compared to yours. Like, I'm gonna go get something to eat after this.
A lot of chains out there.
Yeah, a lot of chains. Just they have wing places, but they're terrible. They are absolutely terrible. So I mean, I envy you, man. I envy you. Take advantage of it. Get out there and eat some wings and all that good stuff. So let's see here. Brandon, Brandon, share with the group your favorite place to go for wings and pizza. He lives by Imperial. We've been to Imperial a lot of times. I love Imperial pizza, and their wings are really good. The what is it? They use the Loganberry. The barbecue Loganberry wings.
Yep.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah, Mike, you ain't kidding. And Imperial, I don't know if you've seen it since, but they've expanded and their place is all brand new. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's awesome.
So when we were out there for Halloween last year, it was already redone.
It's great.
Incredible. We didn't go and eat. I stopped in to pick an order up. But I looked around. I was like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!"
Yeah, what a difference, you know.
Puka's like Florida pizza sucks level.
Oh yeah.
I gotta tell you, being out here on the West Coast, I am constantly searching. I've tried so many pizza joints. There's nothing even close to Buffalo Pizza, and people are like, "What do you mean, Mike? Come on, it's just sauce and pepperoni." And I'm like, "Yeah, something about the dough and the sauce, obviously, because mushrooms are mushrooms and pepperoni is pepperoni." But it's the crust, it's the way they do the crust, it's the sauce, the little bit of a sweet sauce, the way they put it out almost to the edge. Fantastic. And
I love it.
I always get people like, "Oh, you like that thin crust Buffalo pizza?" That's not thin crust. That's New York stuff, man. That's
Don't ever associate Buffalo with New York City.
That's a cracker with some vegetables on top of it. Come on now.
Now listen, I do like my New York style. There's John's on Bleecker Street. I've been there before. That's amazing stuff. But Buffalo pizza hits a little different. It's thicker. It gives you more bang for your buck, I think, because Buffalo, we don't do anything small here. I mean, it gets cold here, so you got to make the food a little bit bigger, make it a little, you got to pack on the pounds sometimes when it gets cold out here. So, Buffalo pizza just hits different for sure. Puka, you're mentioning the Miami games are 50-50. I totally agree. I would say it was 60-40 this year, Bills to Dolphins fans. I was at the tailgate. I was down there for the game, and it was electric, man. We won the tailgate. We didn't win the game, but we won the tailgate, as we always do.
Man, we can go on and talk forever, but I think we're going to let folks go celebrate this win. Go out and get wings if you can, some good pizza if you can. A little bit of Barville maybe. And then some of us will find other junk to celebrate. But anyway, anytime the Bills win is a great time. So, Jake, I want to thank you so much again for being able to jump on right after the game. And we will see each other next week. Again, big game next week against these Chiefs. Got to get that monkey off our back. We beat them last year in their stadium. Let's hope we can do it again. But no matter what, it's going to be a fantastic game. So thank you, Jake. Thank you to all in the channel. Again, we greatly appreciate your support. It just makes things so much more fun to have the interaction and then meet the folks that we're meeting. Again, join our Discord channel. Not only do you get Jake and I in the Buffalo Bills thread, but if you're into fantasy football, Jake will attest to this, that we have two really knowledgeable fantasy football guys that do our shows, and they actually have in our Discord channel a thread that you can go in there and ask questions anytime. You don't have to wait for their show, because they do take questions live on their show. But, Jake, you've seen their show, right? It's good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Gabe Davis is going to be a very hot topic this week for that, Mike.
Boy. Yeah, for sure. Well, they're on vacation this week. They'll be back next week, I hope.
Wearing Bills jerseys.
But yeah, exactly. They have to wear some Bills jerseys because we made a bet with them. But they will take questions. So if you go in our Discord, if you want to know who to start, who to pick up, you have any questions, put that out there. Of course, you got Jake and I in the Bills thread, and then we have a golf thread. So join the Discord. Let's grow that thing so we can keep information shared between all Bills fans. Let's go. So thank you, everyone. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Take care. Be safe.
All right.
Bye now.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.